Today what we're doing is practicing writing hypotheses and then identifying variables. So remember, for a hypothesis, it has to include if and then, it has to be detailed, and it cannot have any pronouns. So if we look at this problem, it says, will a paper airplane made of construction paper go faster than an airplane made of tissue paper? We're going to start our hypothesis with that ever important word, if. If. And then so we have to look at what are we trying to look at here or experiment upon. If a paper airplane is made of construction paper and a different paper airplane is made of tissue paper, so we can see that we've included both the construction paper and the tissue paper. So that includes our detail. It started with if. Now we have to put the word then. Then we have to make the prediction. Which one do we think will go faster? Then the paper airplane made of construction paper will go faster than the paper airplane made of tissue paper. So when you look at this, you can see that it has if and then. It's detailed. It tells you that you're measuring a construction paper airplane, a tissue paper airplane, and you're trying to figure out which one will go faster. And you can see, well, this hypothesis is predicting that the airplane made of construction paper will go faster. Now, once we've checked our hypothesis and made sure it has if and then, made sure it's detailed, and it has no pronouns, then it's time to go to the variables. So next we have to look at the independent variable. The independent variable is a thing that you change on purpose in an experiment. And so when we try to figure this out, we try to look in the problem, well, what is different? So we look at, will a paper airplane made of construction paper go faster than an airplane made of tissue paper? You can see the thing that is different here is construction paper and tissue paper. When you see that, that should indicate to you that that's going to be your independent variable. So that would be the type of paper. That is our independent variable here, the construction paper and the tissue paper. That's what we're changing on purpose. The next thing is to figure out the dependent variable. That depends on the independent variable, and it's what you're trying to figure out. And so when we look back at the problem, we're trying to figure out, will a paper airplane made of construction paper go faster than an airplane made of tissue paper? So we're looking and trying to figure out which one will go faster. So we're going to write that down as the speed of the paper airplane, because that's actually what we're going to measure. You can't measure faster, but you can measure the speed and go, well, that one went 5 centimeters per second, and that one over there went 6 centimeters per second, and that will give you your data. The next part is the part that a lot of students seem to think is not important, and that's the constant variables, or the constants. If you do not control the constants and make sure that you're very detailed in listing them, that can actually impact whether or not you have accurate data. And I want you to list at least 5. More is better, but at least 5. And so when we look at this, things that would impact the flight of a paper airplane, aside from the type of paper, include the size of the airplane. You want to make sure that the construction paper airplane is the exact same size as the tissue paper airplane, or that's going to mess up your experiment. You want to make sure that you have the same throwing position. So you don't want to throw the construction paper underhanded and the tissue paper overhanded. You want to make sure that you have the same throwing force. So you don't throw the construction paper really hard and then only sort of throw the tissue paper airplane, because that's obviously going to mess up your data. We also want to make sure that it's in the same area. And I would recommend for an experiment like this, doing it inside, because if you're outside, it's really hard to control the exact same area. You have wind that's not constant, you have other factors that are not constant, and so that could really create a problem. And then you want to make sure that you throw or measure in the same way. So you don't want to measure the construction paper airplane by timing it with this stopwatch, and then with the other tissue paper airplane, you don't want to do that with a different stopwatch. That would actually create a problem. Now, there are more constants that we could list, but for you today, I want you to list 5. So what you're going to do with your partner, you are going to do exactly as I've done. You're going to write a hypothesis with your partner. Then you are going to identify the independent variables, highlighting or underlining those in one color. Identify the dependent variables, highlighting or underlining that in different color. Notice the two of you have different colors, so you can alternate who identifies the independent and dependent variables, and then you're going to list the constant variables. For today, you're actually going to do all 4 practice problems, and if you're having trouble, I want you to ask myself, or if we have another teacher, you can ask them.